Hi, Year 10. I just want to say I'm really sorry that I'm not in there again today. I've been really, really sick, and you probably don't want me in there anyway because I'm coughing constantly. But what I wanted to talk about in the video is just to talk you through some of the questions that I've had a few people email me about with the assessment task and just make sure you're on track. You should be fine at this point. I'll give you this last lesson to work on it. If you need to take it home and finish off after retreat, and bring it back next week, that's fine, okay, because I have not been there for a lot of it with you. So I'm just in the OneNote having a look in the tab that says assessment task data and walking you through the assessment. So make sure that you are signing the front page where it says it is your own work, okay? Make sure you sign and date that before it comes in. And remember what we're looking at. The aim is that we're trying to decide, based on Billy's and Belinda's claims, who's a better driver, the males or the females. Just be really careful that you know what the data is actually telling you, because one of them is reaction time and one of them is concentration scores, and we just need to know what the numbers are actually telling us, and that is in the important information section. And it says a shorter reaction time indicates they react more quickly, which is better, and a concentration score measures the person's ability to complete a complex task. Therefore, a lower score means you're doing it quicker, and therefore that's better as well. So you're looking for lower numbers being better when you work through your data. Now, we've worked through the actual data, and I've whacked a video up there previously for you on the sample data section that talks about sorting your data. And so we used the dummy data set for that, and I looked at that in class with you for a little bit. So if you didn't get to do that with me, go through the link here, and that's a YouTube video of what to do there. If you have done that, your data should be all sorted and all prepared. And most of you, when I last saw you, had filled in the mean and the median for males and females reaction and concentration score. And you need to do that to 2 decimal places. And what does that mean? So you're just telling me who's better based on your information up there. What does it tell you? I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Okay. Then you want to have a look through the data and look at mean or median. Now, which one is going to be better in that sense? Now, you might want to go and have a look at whether you've got outliers or not, and I've popped a little bit of information under there in the mean or median, and you can always Google that, which is better. So you've got a lot of information at your fingertips because you're not doing this as a test, so Google is going to be your friend as well. You're going to use your data to find, well, you're the lowest and the highest scores are easy because your data is sorted, but you've gone and found your 3 quartiles, remembering that second quartile is the median. And what you were then doing was having a look at outliers and what that might mean, giving one reason why outliers can impact your data and suggest one way of minimizing the impact it has on the data set. What could you do? So if you're not sure, you can Google that one as well. Okay, your data then, you are finding the range and the interquartile range, which we did, and it is in our OneNote as well. So if you're stuck on some of those things, if you go back into our probability and data tab and you have a look at the chapter 4 information, there's a lot of information on all this stuff in here, of which we've done some of it in class, and a lot of that information is under a lot of these different tabs. So you can have a look through there, or again, you might decide you want to Google some information as well. The summary statistics tab was a really good one to have a look at that. That looked at most of those things there that we've just talked about and gives you some nice examples of things in there. So that's probably the best tab in there for your assessment task. Okay, so let's jump back into here. Okay, you should then have used your information from above here to work out your outliers. Now, and you had to decide if there was an outlier based on this column here and this column here. If you had a number here and you're looking for values in your data that is smaller than this number, then it's an outlier. If you're having a number in here and you're looking at whatever number that is, if you've got data that is bigger than this number, then you also have outliers. Some of you might have an outlier at the start and at the end. Some of you might have 2 outliers. Some of you might not have any outliers. Again, if you're stuck on that, you're going to go back to the summary statistics tab, which is 4C, and it talks a little bit about what that means in here. And there's also some examples. So that's another place to go and have a look at if you're stuck. or you can Google it. What you need to also make sure you do is you attach a copy of your spreadsheet, okay? If you're not sure how to do that, what I suggest is you grab the snipping tool here and you just go into Excel and you snip the bit you want and paste it into Word and you can print that. That's probably the easiest way rather than playing around with print areas in Excel. But you do need to show the section where you've got your mean and your median and your quartiles in there as well. So pop that in there to get your marks for that section. The parallel box plots need to look something similar to this. So you've got at one scale that relates to do two box plots. I've also popped in there last week, which I mentioned for you to have a look at, was some just info on parallel box plots. Here's a good example of some other data for parallel box plots and what it might look like. So same scale, two box plots, some form of a heading on both of them to show you or to show me or the marker. Because remember, I'm not marking all of these. We're all splitting them up between different teachers. So you need to be specific. You need to draw them by hand. You need to pop all that information on there. Okay, what extra information have you gained from the box plots? Well, you need to talk about, here's a hint, the shape and the spread. It's going to tell you whether your data is more compact or spread out. You can compare different values nice and easily. So that's the type of stuff that you're going to be talking about in there. I've had a couple of emails about the back-to-back stem and leaf plot. This is for concentration scores only. So we want to have the stem, we want to have the leaf and the leaf. So you might write leaf for males, leaf for females, and concentration score up the top. We've done stem and leaf plots in class. And I've got a little tab over here that says double stem and leaf plot. If you go in, it's showing you an example of a stem and leaf plot for some other data. So there's two leaves. Our leaf would have male and female, either way. You've got your stem, and we've only previously looked at the right-hand side of the leaf, but here the numbers are going from smallest to largest. On the left-hand side, it's the same sort of leaf, it's just flipped around. The numbers would go from smallest to largest. But you need to put every single piece of data for males and females in your stem and leaf plot. So if you've got 55 rows of data, each of those numbers is going to be going in there. And your key down the bottom gives you a tip of what it's going to look like. Yours is going to look like that as well. Now the stem and leaf plot was only for concentration scores. So if we go back and have a look at my dummy data set for concentration scores, that's my dummy data set, and you've had males and females sorted out. So you've got, in this case, probably about 50 or 60 rows of data, probably about 30 males and 25 females or something like that, but they're all needing to go into your double stem and leaf plot, okay? Increasing from left to right and increasing from right to left. You also could Google double stem and leaf plot to get an idea if you're not sure about what I'm talking about in here. Okay, but remember, read the question. It's only for concentration scores. So now you've analysed data for both the reaction times and the concentration scores using box plots and stem and leaf plots. Once you've done that, you need to have a look about what does the shape of the data look like. Now, we talked about that in terms of skewness and being able to draw a curve over the top of the data and deciding whether it was skewed or not. Now, again, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, you're going back into here. You're going to have a look at the summary statistics. I'm pretty sure it was in here. There we are. 4B, review of data displays. You're going to have a look at your box plot when you spin it sideways. Is it symmetrical, positively skewed, negatively skewed, and talk about those sorts of things. You could also talk about outliers and if there are any and what that does to the shape of your curve. That's some of the ideas that you might talk about above. Now, the final part here, again, I've had people emailing me about this. I'm not going to tell you what to write in that section. This is about you analysing your data. It's worth 5 marks. If it's worth 5 marks, you're probably going to need to have at least 5 points about that. So your written response, okay, you can use dot points if you like. You're not going to get more marks for going on in detail about nothing. Make sure that it's relative information. And you need to answer the claim. Male drivers make better drivers than females. Is that true based on your data? What does your data say? Does your data agree with that? So that's the first thing I'd be doing. Does your data disagree with that? Tell me that, and then justify your answers based on what you've found. So use the results from your analysis of both the reaction time and the concentration score to justify that conclusion. Now, it says make sure you include 5 points and back them up with the statistics from the data. So you're going to go through, and basically like what you did in English with an essay, you're going to pull all your information and you're going to summarize it here and use that as a conclusion to answer that question there. Okay, when answering that, if you're stuck, you're just going to go back to that first page and have a look at the information about the task and see if that can help you answer your question. But you're going to go through and pull out all your information, maybe do a draft copy first before you put that in, but remembering you're answering a question and you're not used to doing that in maths. Imagine you're in science, or imagine you're in English and you had this hypothesis and you need to answer it with some evidence. That's what we want you to do for this. That's it. Okay, you can go and work on that now, and good luck. You can send me messages if you need to. I don't think you should need to after this, because you've not only got all the information we've looked at so far, you've got the information that is in your OneNote up here, you've got information down here, and you've got Google as well, and that should be enough to help you out. Again, it's not due till next week, and you've got plenty of time until then.